Ferrari teammate battle reaches boiling point. Lando Norris admits disadvantage he couldn't overcome to beat Verstappen. Fernando Alonso frustrated with Aston Martin's performance. Do consider subscribing to the channel. Now let's get straight into the latest F1 news. Despite failing to convert his pole position to a win, Lando Norris is still confident that McLaren now has the fastest car in the 2024 Formula One field and conceded he should have won in Spain. After the Spanish Grand Prix, Lando Norris admitted to post-race interviewer David Coulthard that a simple mistake at the start of the race cost him a chance to win over Red Bull's Max Verstappen, and that he believes McLaren is fielding the quickest car in F1 right now. Coulthard pointed out after the race that Norris admitted via team radio that the Spanish Grand Prix was a race he could have won. But Norris quickly stepped in to set the record straight. "Not could," Norris said. "Should have done. I got a bad start, simple as that." The British driver noted that his McLaren was incredible, but that the race start truly left him on the back foot, and that he simply wasn't sure what he could have done better. "I need to look back and review," Norris said. "I don't know what I did wrong or if I was just slightly out. It was only a little bit to Max that I lost. It wasn't like he was completely alongside. It's more that George was suddenly outside and kind of had me over." Norris called the start one negative among a lot of positives, but it was unfortunately a negative that kind of ruined everything. Still, he remains positive. "I know that I can just work on it for next time." A large part of Norris's frustration in his poor start seems to come down to the fact that he feels the McLaren is now the best car in the field. "I think we were for sure the quickest," Norris reflected after the race. As the final stint of the Spanish Grand Prix wound down, the British racer certainly did whittle down Verstappen's impressive lead to just 2 seconds, and Red Bull informed its driver that he'd need to pick up the pace to guarantee a victory with Norris pushing hard. Norris's second-place finish at Barcelona is his 4th of the year. McLaren has been on a tear since the Chinese Grand Prix, and Norris took his first victory at the following race in Miami. With Austria on the horizon, a track that Norris hailed as one of his favorites, there's certainly reason to believe that he may be able to display the McLaren MCL38's full potential, if only he can tidy up those final loose ends. Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton have responded after Max Verstappen was booed following his Spanish Grand Prix victory, with the Mercedes driver saying, "You can't fault the reigning F1 world champion." Three-time world champion Verstappen claimed his 7th victory of the F1 2024 season in Barcelona, seeing off the threat of pole-sitter Norris to extend his lead in the drivers' standings to 69 points. The Red Bull driver has now won 51 of the last 76 races, stretching back to his maiden title-winning season in 2021, having established himself as the dominant force of modern F1. Verstappen's astronomical success over recent years has seen him become a polarizing figure among fans, with the Dutchman booed by spectators in the aftermath of his victory. Appearing in the post-race press conference in Spain, Norris argued that there is a fine line between respect and disrespect, but claimed, "People are not going to like Verstappen's recent dominance making F1 less exciting." Asked if the public have a lack of appreciation for Verstappen's achievements, Norris told media, including PlanetF1.com, "No. It's difficult to say, I think. It's never a nice thing, honestly. People are always going to boo, I think, no matter what. You have it in every sport, you support people and you don't support other people. I think it's happened in sport for years and years and years. And Max is winning every race, so people are not going to like that, and it definitely makes the sport less exciting, but that's just because he's doing a good job. There's a fine line. I think everyone within the sport appreciates it and respects it. You have to, and I think everyone does. But people who don't know the most about motorsport are probably not going to be able to appreciate as much, because they don't know what really goes into it and what it takes to be in that position and do what he's doing. You're always going to have boos is my thing, and I think there's a level of disrespect and respect. Any version of disrespect, I don't think that's okay. I'm trying to not dig a hole for myself here. I just think, whatever. I would say no. I think people appreciate what Max has done. I think people maybe should appreciate more, but every driver is going to get boos at some point. Hamilton, who was dethroned by Verstappen in highly controversial circumstances at the end of a hard-fought 2021 season, added that Verstappen cannot be faulted, having done a fantastic job and delivered at every race weekend over recent years. He said, Honestly, I'm not really on social media or reading the news a lot. I'm not tapped into that to know exactly, but on the race weekends, he always has a huge crowd always, so he's always got amazing support. And at the end of the day, he does a fantastic job. Every weekend he delivers. He's got a great team and obviously a great car, but you can't fault him. Carlos Sainz has said Ferrari teammate Charles Leclerc has complained too many times after a race, after the pair made contact during the Spanish Grand Prix. Sainz passed Leclerc early in the race, but Leclerc said contact put the team on the back foot as he suffered front wing damage, though a different tire strategy helped him finish in front of his teammate come the checkered flag. Sainz passed Leclerc around the outside at turn 1, but took to the escape road after the two made contact, rejoining the track ahead early in the race as he was the lead Ferrari on track. A move to soft tires late on saw Leclerc eventually finish ahead of Sainz, who ended the race on the less preferred hard tires. But he believes the earlier contact caused damage that hindered him from catching the ailing George Russell late on, who was also lacking pace on hard rubber. Obviously, we discussed before the race that it was the part of the race where we had to both manage the tires as much as possible, Leclerc explained to Sky F1 after the race. We know how much turn 14 is important to do that, so I did, but apparently Carlos wasn't in the last corner and took that opportunity to overtake, which is a shame because that put us on the back foot, and it damaged my front wing for the rest of the race. It was a small damage, but everything makes a difference. And when you see how close we are from George at the end, it's a shame. But it's like this. We will have a discussion inside the team, and I'm sure that it will be fine from the next race onwards. When presented with his teammates' comments by Sky F1, Sainz pointed out that Leclerc ended up crossing the line ahead in the end after his strategy did not work out for him, quipping that it's not the first time the Monegasque driver has found an area he is not happy with after the checkered flag. I think it's too many times that he complains after a race about something, he said of Leclerc. I think obviously he might think that, honestly at this point of this season I don't know. I was on the attack, we were on a new soft, Mercedes were on a used soft, and we had to go on the attack in the first laps when you have a new tire and try to pass them, like we said even before the race. I passed Charles because I don't know if he did a mistake or he was just managing a bit too much, and then I went on and I nearly passed Lewis. I undercut Lewis. We nearly passed Russell at the pit stop, so I think I was trying out there what I had to try as a driver, what is required of me as a driver, and he elected to manage more. And in the end, for him, it kind of paid because he beat me at the end on a soft, medium, soft. For me, I elected to be aggressive, soft, medium, hard, and it didn't pay off, and it's what it is. I think George and I on the hard at the end, we were just too slow, while the guys on softs were very quick. Fernando Alonso admitted Aston Martin deserved to come away from the Spanish Grand Prix without points this weekend, as he predicted another painful race in Austria next time out. Alonso and Lance Stroll were both lapped as the two Aston Martin drivers came away from the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya without points, marking the second time in 3 races the Silverstone-based team saw both cars finish outside the top 10. Alonso was the highest-placed Aston Martin driver in 12th after the race, but he admitted the combination of the AMR24 lacking speed and not having the right amount of grip led to a difficult weekend, one that he is not expecting to improve in the coming races either. A little bit disappointed because we didn't score any points, and we deserved not to score any points because we didn't have the pace the whole weekend, Alonso told media, including PlanetF1.com, after the Spanish Grand Prix. But in the race, it was extremely difficult when you slide so much in the corners. Also, you kill the tires. So you have 2 problems. You don't have the pace, plus you have a lot of degradation. So all in all, it has been a very long race for us. We need to get better for Austria. It is frustrating, but there's nothing you can do now, so you start thinking of Austria immediately when you see the checkered flag, and what you can do differently in Austria. I think it's going to be painful as well, because it has some characteristics of Barcelona with the long corners and the high-speed section. So it's going to be another tough weekend, also in Silverstone, arguably. We cannot get too frustrated. It's time to work harder, to talk less, to deliver more, and it's what we want to do. While Aston Martin have taken a more aggressive approach to their upgrade schedule this season, with the development curve of their rivals having seen the Silverstone-based team move down the competitive order as last year progressed after flying out of the traps. They have continued to place new parts on the AMR24 this time around, but Alonso admitted they have not had the desired effect, as their rival teams have continued to hold a competitive advantage. "I'm looking forward, but we've been upgrading the car a lot and we didn't deliver the results," he said. He died. "So now is also a matter of whatever we bring to the track. It does deliver what we expect, and we start getting better and better. So as I said, we need to work hard, get better every race, but without too much talking or promising." When asked by PlanetF1.com why the team are bringing upgrades that are not quite working as expected, Alonso responded with a smile, "I am a driver, not a technician." Aston Martin remained fifth in the Constructors' Championship after the Spanish Grand Prix, though they are now 93 points behind Mercedes, one place above them. Carlos Sainz Jr. is left questioning the consistency of the FIA's decision to avoid penalizing Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton, as the Ferrari driver feels Hamilton ran him off track. On lap 19 of the 2024 Spanish Grand Prix, Carlos Sainz Jr. and Lewis Hamilton were locked in a close battle for sixth position. As the Mercedes driver attempted to launch past Sainz, his W15 squeezed the Ferrari SF24 at turn 1. The FIA chose not to officially investigate, and Sainz is wondering why. After the race, Carlos Sainz Jr. was asked about his impressions about how Hamilton had raced him, and he didn't mince words. "I felt like he ran me off the track, and I was half a car length ahead," Sainz stated to media in Spain, including PlanetF1.com. "Normally, the rule this year says that if you're ahead around the outside, they need to give you space. That's normally what the stewards have ruled this year, so I was trying to benefit from that rule." Sainz is referring to the common understanding that right-of-way in a corner is determined by the driver with the bulk of their car ahead of the competition when hitting the apex of that corner. If a driver forces a pass when they do not have the right-of-way, they are often instructed to yield that track position to the car they've just passed. Immediately after Hamilton made the pass, Sainz radioed to his race engineer to look into the situation. Upon hearing that the FIA had ruled that there would be no further investigation, Sainz said, "I don't understand why there's a rule book, and we don't follow it." That frustration lingered with Sainz until the checkered flag fell. After the race, Sainz opted against passing judgment on how hard Hamilton was racing, instead saying he's just trying to apply the rules that the stewards have applied all season long. Carlos Sainz Jr.'s Spanish Grand Prix was something of a race to forget for the hometown driver. Despite the fact that Ferrari brought in some fast-tracked performance upgrades, Sainz remained unimpressed with the car's porpoising issues through Barcelona's high-speed corners. He qualified sixth for the race, and that's exactly where he finished. Aside from his run-in with Hamilton, Sainz also made contact with his Ferrari teammate Charles Leclerc. Sainz attempted to pass Leclerc in turn 1 at the start of the third lap. In the process, Leclerc's front wing clipped Sainz's right rear wheel, and Sainz had to take the escape road. Pierre Gasly has not yet agreed to stay with Alpine for 2025, despite some reports suggesting he had put pen to paper on a new contract. Reports originating from an interview with Flavio Briatore in Italy hinted that Gasly had agreed to stay with the French outfit for 2025, but PlanetF1.com understands that to be currently wide of the mark. Quotes given by Briatore to Gazzetta dello Sport were picked up by some English outlets and appeared to suggest that Gasly was confirmed for the seat. But PlanetF1.com can confirm that is not yet the case, with Alpine still assessing their 2025 options. The Frenchman may also still choose to extend his stay with Alpine, who he joined last season, although he does have a number of options, with plenty of teams still looking to fill their seats. Speaking after Esteban Ocon's departure was confirmed, Gasly was not keen to rush into any decision on what would be his 9th season in the sport. "I don't have a deadline particularly, and I think the market at the moment is quite open," he said. "Everybody is aware of what opportunities are out there, so no, at the moment I don't want to give too much detail on that. I think everything is going well in discussions, and that's it." On his relationship with his teammate, Gasly said, considering the history, "It's been good. It's a long story between Esteban and myself. I think so far, in the last year and a half, we managed to work and cooperate very professionally. This is important to mention as it hasn't always been easy, as you would imagine, from two very competitive drivers," he said. "But considering the story between us, I think it's been good." Thanks for watching the video. See you in the next one.